When my husband's sister lost custody, I took her son in as my own. I fed him, dressed him, loved him. Then one day, she showed up with a lawyer. "You were just a babysitter." My husband backed her. "It's what's best." They took him that night without even letting me say goodbye. Weeks later, I got a message from him with a picture that made me drop everything and drive straight to. "I'm Danielle, 42, and I live in Flagstaff, Arizona. I used to think I had a pretty normal life. I worked as a nurse, had a steady husband, a cozy little house, and we were always the ones in the family who stepped in when someone needed help. I didn't know that saying yes to help would be the thing that shattered everything. It started with Carly, my husband Mark's younger sister. She was the wild one in the family. Always in trouble. She had her son, Trevor, when she was barely 20. No one knew who the dad was. Over the years, she spiraled. Drugs, drinking, fighting with landlords, random boyfriends every few months. It was like watching a train wreck, slow and loud. 2 years ago, Child Protective Services finally stepped in. They took Trevor out of her apartment. The place was a dump. No food in the fridge. Dirty sheets. Neighbors said they heard yelling and crying at night. CPS asked if there were any family members who could take him in. Without thinking, I raised my hand. Mark and I didn't have kids. We'd tried, but it never happened. I thought maybe this was fate. The first night Trevor stayed with us, he wouldn't sleep in his room. He curled up on the couch with a blanket and just stared at the wall. He didn't talk much. He flinched if I raised my voice too loud, even when I was just calling Mark for dinner. That's when I realized how much damage had already been done. Over time, he opened up. We got him into therapy. I helped him with schoolwork. He loved science, wanted to be a vet. Every time he passed a test, he'd come running through the door yelling, "Look what I did," and I'd hang his papers on the fridge. I started calling him my little man. He started calling me Auntie Mom. Mark was distant through all this. He helped, kind of. Took him to a dentist once. Went to a school play. But he never really clicked with Trevor. He used to say, "Don't get too used to this. Carly will come crawling back eventually." I ignored him. Then one Tuesday morning, Carly showed up. Out of nowhere. She pulled into our driveway in a silver Lexus like she was the damn queen. Hair done, makeup heavy, high heels. I barely recognized her. I walked outside with Trevor still finishing his cereal inside. "What are you doing here?" I asked. She handed me an envelope. "I'm taking my son back." I opened it. Custody petition. She'd hired a lawyer in Phoenix. I laughed. I really did. I thought it was some kind of sick joke. "You haven't seen him in 2 years. You've missed birthdays, holidays, school events. Where the hell have you been?" She gave me this cold, practiced smile. "Getting better. I'm clean now. And he's my son." Mark came home early that day. He barely spoke. Just kept pacing. I asked him what he knew. That's when he dropped the bomb, "I've been talking to her. She reached out. She wants to do things right this time." I stared at him like he was a stranger. "You've been talking to her? Behind my back?" "She's his mother, Danielle," he said. "It's not your call." That night, Carly came back, with her lawyer. A guy in a gray suit who didn't even make eye contact with me. Mark stood beside them like a goddamn statue. Trevor didn't want to go. He cried. He begged me not to let them take him. He grabbed my waist and screamed. Carly snapped, "You were just a babysitter. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I lost it. I was the one who stayed up with him every night. I was the one who helped him learn how to trust people again. "You were gone." The lawyer said they had a court order. If I didn't comply, they'd call the police. Mark just stood there. I looked at him, waiting, praying for him to say something. Anything. But all he said was, "It's what's best for him." They took him that night. No goodbye. No time to explain. Just gone. After that, I couldn't look at Mark without wanting to scream. I barely spoke for days. I stopped cooking. I stayed in Trevor's room just to feel close to him. I even kept his drawings up on the wall, even the ones that were just scribbles. They were his. I filed for separation 2 weeks later. Mark didn't fight it. He just moved in with a buddy from work. Then, one night, my phone buzzed. A random number. No name. I almost ignored it. The message said, "Hi. It's me. Please come get me." Look. There was a photo. Trevor. Sitting on a stained couch. His lip was bleeding. His shirt looked dirty and torn. In the background, a man was passed out, shirtless, empty beer bottles on the floor. Then a video. Carly yelling. Screaming at someone. Cursing like a maniac. You could hear a crash. Trevor's voice shaking, whispering, "She's mad again. Please hurry." I couldn't breathe. I didn't grab a bag. I didn't tell anyone. I got in my car and drove. I didn't know what I was walking into. I didn't care. I just knew I had to find that boy. And I wasn't leaving without him. I drove through the night from Flagstaff to Phoenix. I barely remember it. Just white lines on the road, my hands locked on the wheel, and Trevor's face in that photo stuck in my head. I kept checking my phone, afraid he'd stop texting. But he sent another message an hour later. "She left. The guy is still sleeping. I'm in the closet." I pulled into the apartment complex at 5:32 a.m. It was worse than I imagined. Paint peeling off the walls. Trash overflowing the dumpsters. A guy was sleeping on the stairs with a hoodie pulled over his head. Trevor had sent me the unit number, 3B. I ran up the stairs and knocked hard. Nothing. I knocked again. Louder this time. Then I heard a tiny voice, "Auntie?" He opened the door just a crack. His face was bruised. His eye was red. He had a small cut on his chin. He looked even smaller than I remembered. He flung the door open and ran into my arms. I didn't ask questions. I didn't care what the law said. I picked him up, grabbed his little backpack that was already packed, and we walked straight to the car. I drove away fast, before anyone could stop me. We got to a motel an hour outside the city. I cleaned him up. He told me everything. Carly had relapsed. Again. After getting custody back, she went back to partying. Started dating some guy named Royce who had a record a mile long. They fought all the time. Trevor would hide in the closet or under the bed when things got bad. "She hit me once," he whispered. But she said it didn't count because she was drunk. My stomach dropped. I called CPS. I told them everything. They said I had to bring Trevor in to talk to a caseworker. I agreed, on one condition. Carly doesn't get a second chance. Not again. They promised to review everything. The next day, I brought Trevor to their office. He told the caseworker everything he told me. I handed over the pictures, the video, the texts. She nodded, said it was serious. But then she said the worst thing I'd ever heard: "We still have to follow procedure." Procedure. They made me leave him there. Again. He cried and clung to me all over again. I swore to him I'd fix it. I promised. But I had no real power. I was just a woman with a bleeding heart and no legal rights. I went home. I didn't sleep. I called a lawyer the next morning. A woman named Janice Moore, tough, sharp, no BS. She listened to everything and said one thing. "You need to file for emergency guardianship. Today." I spent the whole day digging up every piece of proof I had: school records, medical files, texts from Carly over the years. Even letters from Trevor's therapist. We built a file so thick it could choke a horse. Then, something happened I didn't see coming. Mark showed up at my house. I opened the door and didn't say a word. He looked rough. Like he hadn't slept either. I saw the photo, he said. Carly sent it to me by mistake. She thought she was texting her dealer. I didn't care. I told him to leave. But he said something that made me freeze. She's threatening to take him out of state. She said she'll start over somewhere fresh. If she does that, you'll never find them. I felt cold all over. Then he looked me in the eye. Let me help you this time. For real. I wanted to slam the door. But this was about Trevor. Not me. Fine, I said. You get one chance. The next day, we filed the emergency motion. Mark gave a sworn statement against his sister. Said he lied before. Said he made a mistake. Janice said it helped a lot. But then, 2 days later, Trevor disappeared from CPS custody. They said Carly came and checked him out. Claimed they had no legal grounds to stop her. She vanished. No address. No contact. Her phone was off. Her apartment was cleared out. Mark and I sat in my living room, staring at each other, knowing we'd just lost him again. I felt like I was drowning. But then... another message. No words. Just a picture. It was a picture of Trevor in the backseat of a car. Behind him, through the window, I saw a sign, "Welcome to Las Cruces, New Mexico." When I saw that sign in the photo, Las Cruces, New Mexico, I knew Carly was trying to disappear. Probably figured she'd go somewhere small, lay low, maybe use a fake name again like she did back when she had a warrant in 2019. I showed the photo to Janice, and she made some calls, but without a court order or confirmed location, we couldn't do much. Then Mark did something I didn't expect. He called in a favor from a guy he used to know, some ex-cop who'd moved to Albuquerque. Said he owed Mark for something from years back when Mark helped him through a bad drinking phase. I didn't trust Mark anymore, but I trusted that he wanted to fix this. The guy's name was Ron. Mid-50s, gruff, straight to the point. He looked at the picture and within an hour, he figured out which gas station it was taken near, some rundown place off I-10 near Motel 6. He said if Carly was on the move, she wouldn't go far. She wasn't smart enough for that. She just moved fast and got lucky. We hit the road again. Me, Mark, and Ron. We got to Las Cruces that night. I checked every cheap motel in the area while Ron walked around with Trevor's photo on his phone, showing it to the staff. Nothing. Until the third stop. A teenage clerk looked at the photo and nodded. Yeah, they were here last night. Woman was yelling at the kid in the parking lot. I think she had Nevada plates. They left this morning. He didn't remember the plate number. But he remembered one thing. She bought a burner phone. From that vending machine right over there. Ron jumped on that. He pulled some strings, got a friend in telecom to trace recent burner activations near the area. A couple hours later, we had something. A new number tied to the motel's address. Ron tracked the ping, it was still in New Mexico. Small town called Truth or Consequences. Population under 6,000. We drove there without stopping. I didn't eat. I barely blinked. All I could think about was Trevor sitting in another dirty room, waiting again. Wondering if I meant it when I said I'd come. On the way, Mark finally broke the silence. I didn't know how bad it got. I just thought you were trying to take him from her. I didn't see what was really going on. I didn't respond. Not then. We got into town just before 1 a.m. Most of the lights were out. But one motel still had a car out front that matched the clerk's description. Nevada plates. Red Nissan with a broken tail light. We parked across the street. Ron said to stay in the car while he checked it out, but I couldn't. I got out and walked toward the door before anyone could stop me. That's when I heard the yelling. Carly. Inside. Screaming. You want to act like a little freak? Then you can sleep outside. I froze. A second later, I saw the door swing open. She grabbed Trevor by the shirt and shoved him out. That's when I snapped. I ran. Mark yelled after me, but I didn't care. I grabbed Trevor and pulled him behind me. Carly's eyes went wide. You again? She slurred. You just don't know when to quit, do you? She was high. Her pupils were huge. Her lip had a little white residue on it. I knew that look. You're done, I told her. You lay one more finger on him, I'll bury you. She laughed. He's my kid. Mark stepped between us. No. Not anymore. Ron called the sheriff. She tried to run. She got halfway to the car before Ron tackled her to the ground. They arrested her for child endangerment, drug possession, and a bunch of other things. Her screams echoed through the parking lot. Trevor buried his face in my chest and just sobbed. We drove back to Arizona the next day. Janice filed for emergency full custody again, this time with charges backing us up. The court hearing was in a week. Until then, CPS allowed Trevor to stay with me. I thought the fight was over. But then something strange happened. A letter arrived in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Typed. You think you won. You don't know anything. Trevor was never yours. He knows the truth now. You'll see. Trevor saw it and asked what it meant. I didn't know what to say. Then came the real shock. 2 days later, my lawyer called. Danielle. I don't know how this happened, but Carly gave temporary guardianship to someone named Royce, the guy she was living with. It's legally filed in Nevada. He's petitioning to get Trevor back. And the paperwork looks clean. I felt the ground shift again under my feet. The fight was far from over. And now it was about to get a lot uglier. When Janice told me Carly had signed over guardianship to Royce, I thought she was joking. But it was real. Somehow, while high and on the run, Carly had gone to a small family court in Nevada weeks earlier and named Royce as Trevor's guardian in case of an emergency. The judge there signed it. And now, Royce, the drunk, violent man from the video, was filing a petition to take Trevor from me. Legally. I broke down. Full on shaking, crying, ready to scream into the floor. I had done everything right. I'd fed him, raised him, loved him. And now the system was handing him back to another monster. Janice wasn't shaken. She said, we'll bury this guy in court. But we need proof. We need more than what we already have. So I got to work. And I made a decision that surprised even me. I called Carly. She was in jail, waiting for her hearing. When she answered, her voice was tired, raspy. What do you want? She said. You owe me, I said. You owe him. If you want any shot at getting out of that cell someday without the world hating you, help me stop Royce. She stayed quiet. Then she said, you don't know what that man is capable of. I asked her to explain. Turns out, Royce had been blackmailing her. He had pictures, worse than I imagined. Of her, with Trevor in the background. Drugs, needles, naked men. She didn't want them leaked, so she gave him control. She figured no judge would ever listen to her again anyway. I told her, then grow the hell up and do something right for once. She agreed to testify. Janice arranged for a video deposition. Carly admitted everything. She talked about Royce, about how he used Trevor to control her, about the threats, the violence. She even admitted to forging part of the Nevada paperwork while high. That was the first nail in Royce's legal coffin. The second came from Ron. He managed to dig up Royce's full history. Turns out, Royce had 2 other children. Both removed by the state years ago. One of them had serious injuries. The mother had fled the country. None of this was in the original records because Royce used a fake last name. Janice brought it all to the judge in Flagstaff. She filed a motion to invalidate the Nevada guardianship and grant me permanent custody. Mark testified again. He cried on the stand, said he'd failed both Trevor and me. I believed him. I knew he meant it. But I also knew we were never going to be okay again. Too much had happened. When the judge finally ruled, I held my breath so long I nearly passed out. She said, Trevor will remain in the care of Danielle. Permanently. All prior guardianship claims are void. The court recognizes her as his sole legal guardian. I broke down crying. Trevor jumped into my arms. Royce didn't show up to the hearing. A week later, he was arrested in a sting operation. Caught with stolen credit cards and meth. He was charged in 3 states. He's not getting out for a long, long time. Carly pled guilty to her charges. She's serving 18 months in a rehab-focused facility. She sends Trevor letters now. Sometimes drawings. I read them first. If she stays clean, I'll let them talk. Slowly. Carefully. As for Mark, he wanted to come back. Said he saw the truth too late. I told him I forgave him, but I didn't want him in our lives anymore. I filed for divorce. It was finalized 6 months later. He moved to Colorado. Ron opened his own private investigation firm. I sent him a gift card every month for a year, just to say thank you. Janice never charged me for half the hours she worked. She said some battles are worth more than money. And me? I'm still in Flagstaff. Trevor's in 4th grade now. He has a dog named Rocket. He sleeps through the night. He laughs like he's free. Last week, he called me Mom. He didn't ask. He just said it, like it was always meant to be. I went into the other room and cried quietly. Not because I was sad. Because after everything, every lie, every betrayal, every courtroom and every night I thought I lost him for good, I finally got to be what I always was. His mother.